everyone, happy weekend, and here I am now to share some more thoughts and feelings about stigma and mental illness and all of those kinds of issues wrapped up in each other. And so yeah. So Hannah, within I think her like 16 or 17 minutes of video time from this week, has covered a lot of stuff that I think is really, really important and has been very brave, and I'm so impressed and proud of you for sharing some stories, because I think that's really important that you can put a face to a name, and that's how you combat stigma, is being able to say and claim your experience and be able to share that with other people. So thank you so much for doing that. When you talked about your own personal struggle, that opens so many doors for other people to feel safe and comfortable and being able to do that, and I think that that's so key in talking about stigma. Immediately I reverted to myself and thought, well, I would never be able to share my experiences or my personal struggle with mental health issues with the internet, and I think that by doing that, I realized that myself had internalized a lot of things about not wanting to talk about my anxiety and my issues surrounding that, because I don't want people to think, like you said, that I'm weak and that I'm incapable of doing things, just because there is this part of me that sometimes makes it difficult for me to do things and partake in things fully. And so I think that, I think this conversation is a really good one to start, because it's so important that we are able to share our stories, and that's the first way to break down those walls and those barriers for people to come forward and seek help and be able to say that they do struggle with mental health and that that's okay, and being able to seek help is totally legitimate no matter what your experience is. And I think where some of the feministy perspectives start coming in is that it's so difficult, I think, as women to be able to talk about personal struggle and how that relates to us not being able to be perfect all of the time. And so many people struggle with mental health issues but don't talk about it because they don't want other people to perceive them in a certain way. And I think that there's an assumption that it impacts you as a human being and your personality in a way that has a very negative connotation, and it doesn't seem in medicine as legitimate as other illnesses. And so women particularly have, so many pressures and so many things and oppressions going on in life, and yet still are put into these boxes of being able to, take care of all these issues and be the best and be good and be all of these things. And especially like we were talking about body image and all of those self-esteem issues, that is so wrapped up in mental health as well. And I think that we so often forget to take care of ourselves as human beings and as women and really register and analyze these things that we're feeling, and often shy away from admitting or seeking help because we have this denial of having something wrong with us. There is nothing wrong with you, It's not a flaw or fault in character. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good person or whether or not you're a capable human being. And I think that that's so key in all of these issues that we struggle with. It brings me back a little bit to the housewife struggle of the 1950s and 1960s. I've been studying in feminist thought about women who were going to seek therapists at alarming rates, and this explosion of this emptiness and this loneliness and unfulfillment of women in the 1950s who were working as housewives, and how that became normalized in this idea of the housewife's illness, and they called it the housewife fatigue. And so women have now kind of been packaged in a lot of ways into fitting into certain categories of emotional or needing help, or even the idea of hysteria that comes in of the idea that one's uterus is displaced is causing abnormal behavior or erratic behavior. I don't think people should be put in boxes or mythologized or pathologized because of their gender or a particular illness that they happen to have. I think that's really problematic. And so where we begin to deconstruct is talking about these things and talking about individual experiences and putting faces to names and not being afraid of what other people will think of us, even though it's terrifying. That it's so important that we have the ability to claim that there is legitimacy in mental illness, and that we have the right and the ability to talk about these things and make sure that we're all being taken care of. So those are my thoughts for now. Hope you all have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you around next week.